I want to share something that might sting a little. You will never feel ready enough to build the thing that you actually want to build. Not after one more course, not after one more month of planning, not after the kids are older or things settle down or you finally feel like you know enough to lead people. The readiness you're waiting for doesn't arrive. It's created by doing the thing before you feel prepared to do it. So let's talk about the real cost of waiting. Not the obvious stuff like lost time, but the deeper costs that nobody really talks about. And what I learned when I finally stopped waiting and I started building without feeling ready at all. So I want to tell you what my version of waiting looked like, because it didn't feel like waiting at the time. It felt like preparing. And I would tell myself I didn't know enough yet to get out there and actually lead people. And so instead of building, I'd buy another course. I'd read another book, watch another person's content and take notes. And I'd tell myself, this is the course that's finally going to give me what I need to get started for real. And then I'd finish it and I still wouldn't feel ready. So I'd find the next one. And in the gaps between courses, there were always things that needed my attention: kids, family, life, you know the drill, all legitimate, all real, and all convenient reasons to keep one foot out the door of actually focusing on my business. I wasn't being lazy, I was being busy. And busyness is one of the most effective ways to avoid the thing that actually scares you, which for me was showing up publicly and saying something with my own voice and my own authority when I wasn't sure that I'd earned the right to do that yet. If your version of building right now looks more like preparing with more courses and more research and more I'll start once I figure this one thing out, then I want you to sit with the possibility that the preparing is avoidance. Not because you're weak, but because the real thing is terrifying. And preparation feels productive even when it's actually keeping you stuck. So here's what that waiting actually cost me. And I don't think I fully understood it until I was on the other side of it. When I finally put my foot down and started my YouTube channel. When I committed to going live for 30 days straight and just showing up with whatever I had. I was not more all-knowing than I was years before. Not even close. I didn't have some new certification or some final piece of information that suddenly made me qualified. I just got sick of my own excuses. And that's it. Nothing had changed except my willingness to tolerate the gap between where I was and where I wanted to be. The knowledge that I had on day one of my channel was essentially the same knowledge that I'd had for years before that. The only difference was that I was finally doing something with it, which means every year I spent preparing instead of building was a year that I could have been growing. It was a year of content that could have been compounding, a year of relationships that I could have been building, a year closer to the business I actually wanted. And I can't get those years back. And that's the cost nobody talks about. Not the money spent on courses, the time lost to the illusion that you'll feel ready eventually. The version of you that's ready doesn't exist in the future after one more course or one more month of prep. She exists on the other side of doing the thing. You become ready by building, not by waiting to build. So here's what I learned once I actually started that I could never have learned by preparing. You need to overcome something to be able to speak on it. And overcoming requires action, not theory, not someone else's framework memorized from a course. The actual lived experience of trying something, struggling with it, figuring it out, and coming back to tell someone else what you found. That's what creates authority. Not knowledge alone, but the combination of knowledge and action and experience. And you can only get two of those three by doing. So when I went live for 30 days straight, I was terrified most of those days. But every day that I showed up, I learned something that I couldn't have learned any other way. What I actually had to say, how I naturally communicated, what resonated, what didn't, what felt like me, and what felt like a performance. And 30 days of imperfect action taught me more about my lane, my message, and my voice than years of courses ever did. Because the courses gave me more information, the action gave me experience. And experience is what people actually trust. So stop waiting to feel like an expert before you start showing up. The expertise comes from the showing up. So every awkward video or imperfect post, piece of content that doesn't land the way that you hoped, all of it is building the foundation that you're waiting to have before you start. You're just building it in reverse order, which is actually the only order that works. So here's the takeaway today. The cost of waiting isn't just lost time. It's the compound effect of everything that you could have been building while you were preparing to build. The content that could have been compounding, the relationships that could have been deepening, an audience that could have been growing. And here's the truth underneath all of it. You're not going to feel more ready 6 months from now than you do today. The readiness comes from the doing. It always has. So start imperfectly with what you have, with what you know right now. And if you want clarity on where to focus first, the Authority Audit will show you that. The link is in the description below. I'd love it if you'd drop a comment before you go. How long have you been waiting to feel ready? And what would change if you decided that today was the day that you stopped waiting? I would love to know. And I will see you in the next video.